So here's the screen. This is a touch screen right now. The cable for touch support isn't plugged in right now, but the touch screen does work. The module on the back to control the screen is plugged in via HDMI, and then to make the touchscreen work goes from a little connector to USB into the Raspberry Pi. And then here's the code I have just to test out the motor and the control board. This isn't for face tracking or anything, just to make sure that everything works. Right now I have about 15 volts going into the board and then 13 volts coming out to the motor. And I have the code right now to control left and right directions as well as stopping. So let me get that here. Oh, you can. Okay. So it's a little hard to see, but it's motor spinning in one direction. Then I can change its direction, and then I can stop with the space bar. So now the motor's working. This is what the motor will sit in. There's a hole at the bottom for wires to pass through like this, and the motor just sits in. This is the bottom plate with the bearing. This is what the enclosure will spin on. And in the end, this will be glued down as well as with the motor next to it. There will be a tower that comes up with another gear like this one. Not exactly this one because this isn't part of the tower, but like that, with a belt that connects from the center to the motor. And that'll allow it to spin the enclosure. And then here's the final enclosure with the cloth. There are some minor blemishes, but they're hard to notice. And anything like the seams down the middle or the bottoms, I will touch up after the fact. Make sure I have enough fabric. And here's the inside again with the speaker enclosure and the modules. My goal is to have a plate that'll go inside that'll kind of meet up to this point. And that'll be what supports the entire enclosure. It'll sit on top of this base with the wires underneath. Here are the other things I got. The GPIO connectors. These connect to the back of the Raspberry Pi with the pin style connectors. Right now I'm printing the enclosure for the screen, so that way the screen can fit on the enclosure. It'll have a slight curvature out here. And then all the wires will be fed in through this hole right here, down the middle, into the base, and then to the Raspberry Pi. So far, I believe there's only going to be about 4, maybe 3 cables that I'm going to try and condense down to 1. At the end of the day, this is going to be the computer, so there are going to be wires going to the GPIO as well as for the video output and the touchscreen support. And then this will be in its own little box, like I 3D printed the one for the speakers inside. That way nothing can short itself or anything else can happen.